Hey, shalom, shalom. Hey, first and foremost, as always, I'd like to start off giving all honor, glory, infinite praise, and worship to our power. YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, HAQADASH. Double honors to our apostle, elder bishops, a great millstone, who rule well, teach well, and sound doctrine, and peace salutation to the hopeful elect. All right, the 144,000 and the rest of the large multitude of men, women, and children. That Yahweh BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI will have mercy on in these perilous times, meaning dangerous times we're currently living in. Your brother HAQADASH, Representative Jim S. Brencher in Cleveland, Lord willing, to bring out an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. And I just want to, the title was, the title that the spirit gave me was something along the lines of foreshadowing, another foreshadowing event. Okay, and I want to show a couple things pertaining to this, the situation in Cali or LA. Okay, I haven't watched this, so let's just see what this. Let's see what the elder posted. Elder Manatazabah from South Carolina, GMS South Carolina OA. Go subscribe, like, and be edified. Baba Kasha. All right, I'm gonna play this. Let's see what the Spirit give us.
Begin tonight with fast-moving developments in Los Angeles. President Trump deploying 2,000 National Guard members after violence and chaos erupts during immigration protests outside a federal building just moments ago. Police declared it an unlawful assembly. Those troops descending on the streets of L.A. Governor Gavin Newsom is blasting the move, calling it, quote, purposefully inflammatory and an alarming abuse of power. Nearly a dozen arrests overnight as some protesters tossed objects at officers, police using tear gas and flashbang grenades to disperse the crowd. Today, protesters were back out on the streets for the third consecutive day, some marching in downtown L.A. And police and protesters also squaring off here in New York City. Tonight, the Trump administration says California officials could face federal charges over their response. ABC's Matt Gutman is in Los Angeles and leads us off.
Tonight, hundreds of National Guard troops are deployed on the streets of Los Angeles. A convoy of heavily armed and camouflaged troops arriving overnight, establishing staging areas at downtown federal facilities. President Trump calling up 2,000 members of the National Guard in an effort to stamp out clashes that broke out over the weekend between law enforcement and demonstrators protesting ICE deportations. Tensions boiling over after immigration authorities conducted a series of sweeps in recent days, arresting more than 100 immigrants in Los Angeles over the course of last week. Dozens of demonstrators arrested since the clashes broke out Friday. Officers in riot gear using tear gas and flashbangs to disperse protesters, some of whom hurled projectiles. And in an extraordinary scene Saturday afternoon, a Black Hawk helicopter landing in the parking lot of a Homeland Security office. Agents unloading supplies for law enforcement. And we were there this evening as that standoff continued outside a federal facility in downtown Los Angeles.
This is one of the tear gas canisters that was just deployed against some of the couple of hundred people here. And on this side, there are about 100 federal law enforcement, California National Guard.
The president bypassing California's governor, authorizing the troop deployment for 60 days late Saturday, saying in a memo, the protests constitute a form of rebellion against the United States. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth adding on social media that the administration is also considering mobilizing active duty Marines if the clashes continue, an idea the president did not rule out late today.
What's the bar for sending Marines?
The bar is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order.
Local officials blasting the White House in response. Los Angeles.
Right, so he said he would be very strong in terms of law and order, right? So let's see. I got some notes here. All right, I can't find exactly what I had. Okay, so I was trying to find it on one of my news apps. I thought it was this one. Let's see. ICE. Which I like to play on that word ICE. It's ICE, like ICE. So I did a lesson like that. ICE, right? Protests nationwide come as agency scrambles to meet Trump's immigration arrest, quotes. Okay, so this is supposed to be a worldwide thing. It says, let's see. It says, White House border czar Tom Homan maintained this week that despite protests, ICE Operations to enforce Trump's immigration policies will continue. Quotation. They'll continue every day, not only in California, Los Angeles. They're going to continue every city across the country. We have teams throughout the country that are out there looking for those in the country. Whoo-wee. Yeah, it's about to go up. Lord willing shit, man. You know? It says, we're in every city and country. And ICE is going to be out every single day and will continue to be there regardless of what's happening in LA. All right. Let's see if I can find what I had earlier. Let's see. Protests intensify in LA after Trump deployed hundreds of National Guards. It was an article that I had that said what they said in the video. Okay, about Trump's force with this whole deployment, man. I forgot how it was put, man. That's why I was trying to get the article, but it's all good. It is what it is. It says, after LA, Trump hard launches new First Amendment. Only MAGA can protest, right? And they're aiming at, like, you know, the fact that this was a protest about what's going on. But if it was a MAGA protest, it wouldn't have been interrupted like it was, right? Even if it was some type of act of violence, okay? This is what Trump said, quote, as Salakian. I thought Trump said it as well, but I think he mentioned something about it. But this just says, as border czar Tom Homan said on June 9th about the LA protesters, I said many times, you can protest, you get your First Amendment rights, but when you cross the line, you put hands on an IC officer or you destroy property or ICE says you impede law enforcement, that's a crime. And the Trump administration is not going to tolerate it, okay? Said rule number one. What that is, rule number one. No protesting unless something Trump wants you to protest. Rule number two. Protesters can only use American flags. It says, quotation, this is an American city, and to be able to have an American city where we have people literally flying Mexican flags and saying you cannot arrest us can't be allowed. Ooh-wee. It says, number three, no spitting or disrespecting law enforcement officers. All right, so these are some type of rules that they have put up. Not rules, but things that categorize based off what the protest retaliation is centered around and what they analyze, right? And it's another article right here.
And even those who were out of...
All right, Maxine Waters. I'm not really familiar with her. I heard her name a few times. I can't remember her position. This is 12 hours ago. It says Maxine Waters says Americans shouldn't rely on their own eyes. Says there was no violence at the LA. Right. Waters says you should trust her and all the videos you saw online. When somebody's lying, somebody's telling the truth. Okay. The point is that it don't matter. Problem, reaction, solution. You cause the problem, you get real reactions, whether staged or real. It's still people still react, and then you therefore you still win, and you come in with the solution no matter what. Okay.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
I'm not going to do nothing.
It's not worth it.
I know.
Right?
No.
A photo doesn't cost your life.
Wait, we can't take photos?
The more we attract the photos, everyone's taking photos.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna track up to take more photos.
Okay.
So yeah, so the point is that that's something else. So look, so this the point is that I don't know if this is actually active training on the streets with the civilians, but the point is that she's saying one thing, they saying one thing, they saying another thing, she's saying another thing. All right, so you don't know what to believe. You don't know what to believe. All you know is that it's happening, and it's happening in real time. It says end time headlines: June 10th, 2025, nationwide day of defiance set to sweep across the United States on June 14th. Okay, what's the defiance? It's called the No More Kings protest. Okay, No More Kings. It says, you see that poster right there, he was elected president, not king. Well, hate to break it to you, he's acting as a king. He's in a position as a king, right? Just to prove that real quick, the scripture says, I think it's in Isaiah, Proverb, King. Yep. Isaiah 14 and 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor seized the golden city seized? So, contrary to popular belief, Trump is in fact the king. All right, he's over a people, a multitude of people. He can make a law. He can dictate where you'll go about, and he can dictate if you stay alive or not. He can bring in and he can take out. He can push in and push out. Okay, and so forth and so forth. He has the wealth. He has the power. Therefore, he's a king. He's a pawn, but he's a king. Okay, and right now he's the king of Babylon. America is the modern day Babylon. All right, and it's the golden city, and he's going to be the one that caused this place to go out. Okay, so what is this? Yeah, so yeah, it says he's a let me bring this back up. No more king protests are planned nationwide. It says the No Kings protests are a nationwide day of defiance to reject authoritarianism, according to the event's organizers. Dozens of grassroots groups are organizing a nationwide protest. He is planning to roll tanks. Goodness gracious, bro. It's a goddamn ad for everything, dude. What is this? He's planning to roll tanks through the streets of D.C. in celebration of his birthday, and that's the kind of thing you normally would see in a constitutional republic, certainly not America. It's something you would see in North Korea or other authoritarian regimes. Bear with me, reading past this craziness. It says, this is actually to send a strong message to leaders and institutions who are considering right now whether to capitulate or whether to fight back, and to send a message that this period we are in right now, this period of authoritarian breakthrough is temporary and democracy will reset itself. So let's look up authoritarian. Let's see what they give us in ChatGPT. Authoritarian, favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority. It says, especially that of the government at the expense of personal freedom, showing a lack of concern for the wishes or opinions of others. You see, and that's what Trump said. I wish I could find this article. He said, he like, it don't matter, bro. Hey, if I want this is gonna happen. And we just read in the beginning that one of the articles we had that it's gonna happen, the ice raise is going to happen in every single city, despite what's going on in LA. Okay. So you have a nationwide day of defiance, no kings protest, man. Okay. But this has nothing to do with semi-quincentennial, because semi-quincentennial, which is 250 years of being power, or the army being deployed, that would be next year, 1776 to 2026. That's 250 years. But this reads, it says the day coincides with Flag Day, the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and President Donald Trump's 79th birthday, amplifying the symbolic weight of the event. And that's what all the kings celebrated their birthdays and magnifying events. Trump is talking about having this going for a whole year, with parades in the street and statues and shit being built and all that. You know? According to reports, the parade will feature approximately 6,600 soldiers, 150 military vehicles, 50 helicopters, fireworks, performances by the Army's Golden Knights parachute team. The cost of $45 million. Okay. So it's crazy because I read about this last year, but I didn't know he was doing this on his birthday. I thought he was doing this, and they said in the summer, but I didn't know that was the reason. It said next year. Oh, I think after the article, if I remember correctly, he probably said he gonna celebrate it for a whole year up until his next birthday. That will be the 250th year, marking the 250th year, something like that. It probably went like that. From city blocks to small towns, from courthouse steps to community parks, we're taking action to reject authoritarianism and show the world what democracy really looks like. The website states. So this is the point of the lesson. Okay, this is a foreshadowing event. All right, hey, Trump said by any means they will use force. Okay, they use rubber bullets. They're using all type of things. The next things is real bullets, man. Okay, what's going to stop these people from using real bullets? Okay. ChatGPT, what is sedition? Sedition is the act of encouraging people to rebel against the authority of a state or government. Right? And Trump, we saw that earlier. The article said because of a great rebellion. Okay. Okay, this is a definition. Sedition refers to speech, writing, or actions intended to incite rebellion, resistance, or disorder against established authority, especially against a government. And this is what you see: government versus the citizens. Hey, Trump ignited this right. Okay. It was a peaceful protest at the beginning, right? That's why he went above. That's how the House divided against itself. He went above the government or the smaller officials in LA, man. Okay, he's showing his horns, his power. It's often considered a serious crime, especially in authoritarian or tightly controlled regimes. Free speech laws in democratic countries often draw a line between lawful dissent and sedition. Examples: a political activist giving a speech urging people to overthrow the government could be charged for sedition. Publishing materials that encourage armed resistance might be considered seditious. You see? So what we're seeing is an uprising. And this is what the scriptures talk about a sedition. All right. Second address, but let's see where else it pop up. All right, let's see. Let's just read this. 2 Edges 15 and 16. For there should be sedition among men. Right, let's start at 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe mean death and destruction. The world is where we live. Okay, it's talking about the people, the inhabitants. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight another against another, and swords in their hands. Eventually, it's going to turn deadly. Okay, going to turn deadly. Okay. 16, for there shall be sedition among men. Right, we just read that word sedition, an angry uprising. All right, insurrection. Trump has something called the Insurrection Act. All right, let's see, is insurrection. Right, there you go. A violent uprising against authority or government. Right, so eventually it's going to turn into insurrection. Insurrection Act is a U.S. federal law originally enacted in 1807 that empowers the president to deploy the military to suppress insurrection, rebellion, or domestic violence within the U.S. when state authorities are unable to maintain law and order. And this is what you saw an example of. He showed that the state was unable to maintain law and order. That's what you heard in the video. It allows the president, that's what Trump said, it allows the president to use the armed forces to suppress civil unrest and enforce federal law in cases where state or local law enforcement is insufficient. It said key provisions, presidential power. The act grants the president the authority to use the military to suppress insurrection, domestic violence, execution of federal law and obstruction. Right. So, there you go. It said to so-called what? To restore order, right? So scriptures also talk about the insurrection. Okay. It says, so the sword is the gun, the modern day gun. And it's gonna at least everybody has a gun. The Trump administration just passed it where people could still get extensions on their guns, man. Right? Why would you want to do that if you're talking about make America great again? Why would you want to have people have extendos on their guns, man? For there should be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Right? Trump is a king. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because martial law, troops on every corner. He said in every city it will continue. This is going to issue in martial law on a global scale, man. Because I did a lesson a while back when they first started these raids, bro. It's not just Northern Kingdom, bro. They're taking Southern Kingdom as well. Haitians and all type of tribes, man. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled and the house shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. Right? It's going to cause even more lack of work and a lot of things, right? It's going to come out of this. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. He's not going to, hey, remember that kick out? No, right? Like the dude said on Leave the World Behind. That was the old way. That was the old world. But shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right? You type in insurrection. It says, for 1670, Secretary 1670, for there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. And it's going to be a great insurrection, not just on the prophets, but what? Against the authorities that be. Okay? Insurrection is an organized act of revolt or rebellion. And that's what you see. A day of defiance. A day of defiance, right? Insurrection is an organized act of revolt or rebellion. So this is a foreshadowing of what's to come. All right, usually involving violence by a group of people against a government or ruling authority. So Lord willing is edifying, like to give our honor, glory, and for praise and worship to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. That belongs to our apostles, elders, and bishops, great millstone. Peace, citation to the full. Till next time. Hey, shalom.